Hi, my name is Goldman. I'm an attorney with Goldman and Associates, and we're often asked, what can I expect if my child custody case is going to mediation? Well, you have to understand the goal that the mediator has. The goal that the mediator has is to settle the case. That's his goal. Your mediator is not an advocate. Your mediator is not a judge. It's not the job of the mediator to either take your side or make decisions. The mediator's job is to find a way to bridge the gap between your side and the other side. So in a divorce mediation, for example, the mediator will probably hear from both sides what the issues are and try to work something out by finding out what your goal is, find out what the goal of the other person is, and see, is there some method of compromise whereby maybe you give a little bit more than you want to, maybe the other side gets a little less than they want to, but nonetheless we settle the case. Why would somebody do this? It's very simple. When you go before that judge, and that judge is going to make a decision that's going to be final and binding on you until some other court says otherwise, you are running a risk. The risk that you're running is that the court won't see things your way. And that 100% on your side, hands down case may go south very quickly. The court may take an instant dislike to you or your position. The court may feel that what you think is a no-brainer is not quite that simple. So therefore, to avoid the uncertainty of that trial, you can go to mediation and at least control it to some degree. If you feel that you're entitled to, 5 overnights a week compared to the other side's 2 overnights a week, you have to be prepared for the possibility that the court may see it a 5 and 2 also, but in their favor. Maybe you'll only get 2 overnights, and you'll say, well, that's not fair. Well, if it's not fair to you, what makes you think it's fair to the other guy? So in light of that risk, you've got to consider your position. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's a situation where the person only just wants a little bit more time. And if you give them a little bit more time, they won't fight on the other issues. Sometimes it's financial. The person is willing to give up the time, but really needs the support. So therefore, you can work that out. It's the goal of the mediator to figure out what the true issue is and whether there's any possible way to get there without a trial. Sometimes it's not. Not every case is settleable. Some cases have to go to trial and the judge has to make the call. But you need to be aware that statistically speaking, 97% of these domestic relations cases settle without the court making the call. They settle without a trial. And because of that, your case would have to be the 3 out of 100 that must go before a judge. And is it? Well, it's possible that it is. If your ex is a drug addict and an alcoholic, and therefore you are afraid for the safety of your child, but they nonetheless insist on custody, guess what? You can't settle that case. And no amount of vested suits and leather briefcases is going to cause that case to settle. The lawyers can't settle that. The judge has to settle that. You got an unreasonable opposition. I've had cases where the parties are reasonable, but the lawyers are getting in the way. The husband would agree to what the wife wants, but the lawyer on the other side is whispering in his ear, oh, don't do this, I'll get you better at trial. And you know what? Maybe they will, and maybe they won't. You're going to pay $20,000 to find out that that lawyer was wrong, and that at trial, after spending all that money and all that time, the judge sees it the other way? It's a risk you take. It's also a risk that you avoid when you use mediators. So in light of that, the mediator is probably somebody who the parties both select. It's always somebody who is going to know a little bit about family law, a little bit about what that judge might do because of his own experience as a mediator. So use that guy's experience and he might say, look, I understand what you're saying, but I know this judge, and more likely than not, this judge is going to see it this way. So let's avoid the problem and let's get what we can. And that's what the mediator's job is, to basically tell you what lies ahead and how you can avoid the pitfalls. It's a very, very useful service, and it's a situation where you can really avoid a lot of heartache by taking that process into account and giving it a good faith effort to try and settle at a mediation circumstance. If you have that opportunity, you should certainly avail yourself of it. If you have any questions about the mediation process, give us a call, let us know. We mediate all the time on both sides of this issue, and we'll be glad to help you out.